So today is Friday, May 24th, and I think my last entry was Monday, April 15th. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 weeks of what I am calling for me personally an emotional breakdown. What I recall of the last video, I talked about feeling, amongst other things, emotionally raped. I'm not going to talk about that now. But I am just going to, I think I'm just going to talk, partially to catch up anyone who's bearing witness to my journey. And if you are, I am very grateful for you. And if you feel so led, please share this with others who might need it, because we're seeing more and more, or I am seeing more and more, just how common, my situation is less uncommon than I thought. It's not very common, but I have learned that I definitely am not the only one. So, that being said, the emotional breakdown was I take it back. I'm going to talk about that emotional rape just a little bit. I realized what was happening was that my emotions, or I was finally catching up to feeling my emotions along with thinking my thoughts. Like, I've posted multiple times about how she took my first time. She took my first kiss. She took, being my first love. And intellectually, I understand the gravity of that. But it wasn't until much, much later that I experienced that emotionally, and even worse, physically. Like, I had the visceral response that I would have had if the morning after we had sex, she told me how it was all just a joke. It was just a trick to get you. Like, that kind of reaction I would have had in that moment is what I felt then, which is 22 years later. So 22 years of holding on to a trauma in my body I didn't even know was there. Like, I didn't know it was there, which is why it was so devastating. Excuse me. It was so devastating. And so that term emotional rape was the only thing that I could come up with to express how it felt. And it's not the same as physical rape. There are many, many dimensions to rape, which is so unfortunate that we have so many dimensions to rape. So that broke me. And I do remember I haven't even been able to go back and watch that video myself, because I'm not there yet where I can even. I started and I just couldn't. So I'm still in the breakdown. I'm just on the upper swing of it. Because I've been trying to make this video for a week and I've been scared. I talked to my partner and she pointed out that I was talking about like every time I think about it, I feel anxiety. And like I couldn't understand why. And as I was talking it out, I had the realization, but she told me she also had to confirm it for me. She's like, your body is reacting because like a lot of times when you make these videos, you're having a breakdown of some sort and your body is like scared. It's like you don't want to keep experiencing that. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's like, it is not every time, because a lot of times when I'm making a video as I'm experiencing something, but also making the video helps me to experience more. And that's why I'm daring to guess that is why Spirit has put me down this path. And I still believe Spirit put me down this path, and I'll get to that at some point. I'm just gonna talk again. So I don't know how long this video is gonna go. I was gonna say presume for an hour, but by the time you're watching this, you'll know how long it is. So I don't know how long it is. My guess right now, as I'm recording this, is going to be like an hour, but no more than an hour. And then watch me wrap this stuff up in like 10 minutes. Just so let's just keep going. Let's see. All right. See, I distracted myself because I was feeling a lot, and I distracted myself with humor. Where was I? Oh yeah. So being afraid of as I'm talking through what I've been experiencing, starting to feel something else and having to deal with that. So, but I'm recording this video. Like I still have that fear. I don't know what is left. And I've said that multiple times, but I mean it. I don't know what is left. But in order for me to find out, I have to move forward. Otherwise I'm going to be stuck here. So this video is me moving forward. Okay. So, but yeah, that broke me in a way that I did not think I could be broken again. Because it was a physical brokenness. It was spiritual and it was physical. It was just everything. It was everything. And something I think I've realized about this journey is that I don't think I've gotten to the healing part yet. I think what is actually happening is that I am being broken down in every way possible that is left. Like, when we think about the healing process, we think that we've already been broken down, and so there's nowhere to go but up. You might, or nowhere to go. Yeah, no, I'm keep with the up and down. So when you've been broken down to like your bottom, the healing process essentially is meant to move up. Now it'll go up and down a little bit, but essentially you're meant to go up, right? That's not what this has been. This has been hidden rock bottom, moving forward, thinking you're going up, and you go lower than you thought you could ever go. In fact, the lower you go, the higher you seem to have been from the get-go. Like had I felt like I was all the way up here, I'm holding my hand up toward the top of the screen. And I can see how far down I can still go. I might have been like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to confront shit. I'll take this secret to my grave. Like, if I saw this, I don't know if I would have had the strength to do it. God. I have been broken in ways I didn't know I could still be broken. To recap, learning that people knew brokenness in being protected by my community because I was the sacrificial goat that kept everybody else's kids safe. Like, broken and realizing she did not love me. Like, at all. I was that vulnerable black sheep. And then just, oh my goodness. So y'all, if you've been following, you've seen me broken multiple times. So after that entry, that's where I was for a solid 2 weeks. It might be 3. I'm actually looking at my calendar to see just how long this lasted. Yeah, it was a solid 2 weeks where I could barely leave the house because I did not know if I was going to break down into like a full on collapse tear weeping session, because they would hit out of nowhere. Excuse me. I think that's in the video, in the last one, I talked about how I got up out of bed and I just immediately just collapsed under the emotional pressure of what I was feeling, to the point that I had to cancel the rest of my classes for the semester. I called the department head and I was like, I'm going through some things right now, and I can't do it. Because that day I made the entry. I canceled classes that day, and I had to let her know. I was like, I don't know if I can hold the class because I don't know if I'll be able to get through it, like literally get through it, because I would cry out of nowhere. And there were times where if I wasn't crying, I was just staring. I was broken. So I had to cancel classes. I missed events. The creative cohort that I was in 2023, they had their graduation. I missed that. There was a mental health thing that I missed. Like I think I ended up canceling like 6 different things. My mom broke her leg. I didn't have the capacity to do anything. Like, the day I went to visit her in the hospital was a breakdown day. Like, I haven't had anything for anybody for weeks. My anime chicks group, which is like my friend family, one of them was going through some things, and everybody rallied except for me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be there. Another friend called me because she was going through some stuff. She was having her own breakdown, and I didn't have the capacity. Fortunately, my partner did. So I've been grateful that I can look at the communities I'm a part of, and other people have been able to step up in a way that I haven't. And I felt bad about not being able to, but it's like that's how broken I have been. That I cannot be there for anybody. And that's a lot for me. Because the people I care about, like, I put in effort. I put in effort and I put in intention in all of the relationships where I care about. And when I can't always do everything I want to do, but I do my best. But to not have anything for anybody, the only person I could care for outside of myself is my partner. That's the only person. And that's because she's in my immediate space. We live together. So in the moments that I'm good, because she's right there, I'm good, I can help you because you're right here. But I couldn't extend that to anybody. I couldn't extend it outside my immediate space. And I can't remember the last. I was going to say I can't remember the last time I was broken like that, but I'll say this much. As broken as I have been both the past few weeks and with this entire process, I have not gone into the abyss. Meaning I have not gone into a major depression episode to the point where I am feeling suicidal. I'm not even having any suicidal ideations. And that is good, because I know what I'm going through is a depression, but it's a situational, contextual depression, not the ones that I tend to experience with the brain that I have, where I can have an episode like out of nowhere. So, and I told my therapist too, I was like, despite everything, like all the crying, all the brokenness, all the tears, all the I think the anxiety has taken the place of the deeper depression, because anxiety is something this is new for me. Trying to even identify what anxiety is from all this emotional angst. But I have not been in the darkest place. I haven't been in the place where I did want to kill myself. So I can say that this process of breaking away from her is still better and healthier than when I was obsessively in love with her. And part of what I'm still also dealing with is that emotional attachment, because every time I think I get to a place where I can say, okay, I will never look at her with that kind of adoration and love again, it is still there. It is still there. Like they could put me up on the witness stand and say, despite all of this, when you look at that person, do you still love that person? And as much as I want to say no. I want to say no. Nowhere in my heart, in my soul, do I have any kind of affection for this woman. And I still do. Not to the point where I'm like, rethinking anything or like making any kind of excuses. It's trust me, it's a lot better. But it lets me know that that part is going to take some time. Like a lot of time. Perhaps so much time that it might not even really ever truly end for me. Like if you saw the movie A Beautiful Mind, which I recently read is not a good depiction of schizophrenia, but I still really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the artistic expression, I guess, of schizophrenia. So, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie. But the scene where he's with his kid in the bathtub, and he's having an episode, and his wife is like, she gets the kid, and she's like, nope, we're not doing this, and she's out, and he stops the car, and he's like, the girl never ages, because he had 3 different personalities that he would see, a secret agent, his best friend, and then this little girl. And so for him, that helped him realize, okay, these people really aren't real. But even by the end of the movie, they're always there. They're just quiet now. They don't interact. He can still see them. They're still present, but they're just present. And that's kind of how I feel this connection might end up being. Like, it is so ingrained in every part of me. Like, it's ingrained in my body through our sexual connection. It's ingrained in my heart because she was the very first person I ever loved. It's ingrained in my spirit because she was also part of the foundation that gave me my spiritual foundation. Wait, yeah, so she was part of the foundation that gave me my foundation. So she was part of I'm trying to find the right word. I was going to say leadership. That's too formal. But community isn't quite right either. She was part of the people who, despite everything wrong and bad, and in their own terms, demonic about them, my path to God did start with what they taught me. And a lot of the ideals that I latched on to are from that education. Although I don't want to give too much credit, because truthfully, a lot of my ideals come from the ideals of what Christ taught. So I paid attention. I paid attention to what they were teaching me because I was the one who always had questions. I remember being in Sunday school and we were talking about Adam and Eve, and I think it was either I asked about the apple or I think I asked about the tree. I would say, so if they weren't supposed to eat from the tree and everything else, like God made everything for humans and they weren't supposed to eat from the tree, why was the tree there? Like, what was the purpose? And I think the purpose was like to give them temptation. I was like, so basically they were set up to fail is what I just heard. This is early Sunday school. And like the answer I got back was pretty much, she tried to answer the question, but it was also stop asking. I could feel that energy. I was like, all right, that's cool. But I was that person. I was that person. And honestly, I thank God for giving me that personality, because that's what saved me, my curiosity and my willingness to question things. Because if I hadn't been willing to question things and then follow my own path to God, I would be stuck back there with them. And like, what she did to me is the kind of thing you do when you have your own arrested development, when you've been denying who you are and you don't believe it's right to do it out in the open. You don't think it's right to do it at all, honestly. You don't think it's right to do it at all, but you can't turn it off. You can't make it go away. And so it seeps out in these cracks. And you do awful things. You do awful things. And you might even feel a little bad about it. But not enough to really examine what you're doing and why. Not enough to examine the beliefs that have you doing this. Because there are people who will, despite everything that I've shared, still look at me as the questionable one because I am living my life as I deem fit. I live my life as a queer person. I identify as a non-binary person. I am a polyamorous person. I am the red flag of conservative Christian teaching or fundamentalist Christian teaching, I think is the more accurate term. You can let me know if it's wrong in the comments. I'm that distraction that keeps you from looking at your life and doing things better. Because the ones who are out here doing these things, they put on the appearance of piety and righteousness. They're willing to pretend to be somebody that they're not. Or, what's most common, they are trying so hard to be the person that they think they should be, that they push down the person that they are. And the person that you are will never leave you. The person that you are will never leave you. So isn't it better to accept who you are and then be the best version of that person? That's where I got. And I think that makes me a better person in general. So, all these little segues, I forgot where I was about 20 minutes ago. But we're at minute 27. Ha! So it might be an hour. I don't know. So, yeah, I talked about just being broken. Oh, and I was talking about how this journey has not even been a healing journey. This journey has been a shattering journey. When you think you're going to start your healing, well, let me just use I statements because other people's healing journey might be easier than mine. Everyone's journey is different. Like some people might just go it might be a steep hill and you got to keep going, but you might be on the incline. You might slip back just a few times, but you get to the incline and there you go. And look at that. Look. Just there's a distance between my hands, but you can, it's manageable. You can see some, what am I trying to say? You can see some vast improvement, right? Yeah. So that's great. Mine is crash, and I'm struggling to get up before I drown and crash again, and just my healing has required being broken more first. And the reason for that is because I needed to break through all of the false realities, all of the false lenses I had seen everything through. Oh, I was saying, how this person was a foundation, how that connection is going to probably stay with me. I'm going to go ahead and anticipate to some degree for the rest of this life. That way, if it does dissipate, I will be pleased, but I won't have any undue expectations of myself. And honestly, what's really great about telling this secret and getting it off my chest is that I don't have to, going back to the original purpose of all of this, telling the world isn't watching this, telling the small set of people that have been following this or that were part of the community back then. Now that I know people know, now that I've told people, I can confront everything, because I couldn't confront anything fully if I was going to try to still keep it a secret. Because if I'm trying to confront fully, but I'm also trying to hide it, that's incompatible. And so the very first thing I had to do was tell it, like, hey, this happened. And then, all right, now I can confront what happened. And in confronting it, yeah, my vision has been shattered. Like, I'm trying to think in all the ways I can describe this shattering. So the way I saw things, shattered, connections, shattered, identity, shattered. A little bit of my sanity shattered because I can be so easy to manipulate. I will gaslight my own self. Like, despite everything I've shown and shared, I will still ask myself, did that really happen? Like, was it really that deep? Like, that's that's what's happening in my head. Not that did really happen, but was it really that deep? Like, it wasn't that deep. And I'm like, yes, the fuck it was. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Stop doing that. So, oh my gosh, I'm like, how about this? I am so shattered that even trying to put together all of the pieces that I've experienced is not working. It's not working. My thoughts are just all over the place. So, but yeah, I will still be like, it wasn't that deep. Yeah, and then I'll be like, yeah, yes, the fuck it was. Just, yes, the fuck it was. And here's why. It's pretty interesting. So there's this book, these two books that I read some long years ago. I think sometime when I was in college or maybe just after college. Knowing the Heart of God and Discovering the Character of God by George MacDonald. He's a writer from like the early 1900s. So if he was problematic, forgive me. I don't know much about him. I just know those two books. And at the time when I had read them back in the day, they were very helpful in helping me to expand my view of God and my view of connection to God. Now, these are Christian writings, so it's through the lens of Jesus being the only way, but everything I learned through Christianity about Christ, I just apply to God as a whole. So when I say God, for you, that God might go by a different name or a different concept. I'm not pushing any kind of particular view of God. I'm just expressing my own. So anyway, I was starting to read one of the books just because it kind of, it had brought me comfort in that time. And right now I've been really trying to comfort myself with the things that I love now and things I loved as a kid. I've been reading a lot more. I'm all into Three Body Problem. I watched the Netflix series twice. I read the book, and now I'm watching the Chinese series. Like this, I'm fixating, and it's fun. It's something I need. But I was reading the book, and I was kind of flipping through it, and a card fell out, and I was like, "Oh, it's probably like an old business card." And the card that fell out is this is her old ID from Greater Harvest International Fellowship when they went from being Providence Holy Church to Providence Harvest Church. And so so the ID, and then on the back is like certificate of fellowship. The person that has this card is recognized by this ministry for this, and then Bishop has it signed, and it's validated yearly. So this is 1101 to 1102, November of 2001 to November 2002. I believe in signs and symbols. Not to the point where I spiritualize every single thing, because I also have a scientific mind. So I like to blend the two. And when certain things happen, I pay attention. I don't remember how I got this. I don't have a memory surrounding this card at all. But I have it. And my having it is all I need. It is funny because I feel like it is holding a piece in time. Like, this is from the time that our relationship began. November 01 through November 02. I think, again, our beach trip was sometime in early 02. And so when I have those moments of, did this really happen? I have a physical manifestation of it right here. Yes, it did. Because again, just like with the ring, which I also, so this is my collection of items that I still have left. So now the ID card. Her wedding ring, engagement. I'm not sure if it was wedding or engagement. I shared that in the Facebook post. I have silver cuff bangle or cuff bracelet. I'm trying to get it to focus. It doesn't have to, I guess. This is, I believe, the first gift she really got me. I don't know if we were together at this point or not. I feel like we weren't yet. But this was, I feel like, one of the most sincere gifts that she got me. And then I have this. Now, she did not get me this. I got myself this as a counterpart to the gift that I got her. So this is a rose dipped in white gold. I bought her a rose dipped in 14 karat gold. I remember it was in a red box. And it's something I had gotten her toward the ending of our relationship because I was feeling her drifting away and I was making my romantic gestures. Because as you can see, I'm very sentimental. I'm very sentimental. So that's what this is. And I use it as a reminder that don't pretend that somebody loves you. Because that's ultimately what this was. Me getting this so that I could pretend that she got it for me. In the same way that I got her the gold one. I was pathetically in love with this woman. I was obsessively in love with this woman. I was tricked into being in love with this woman. So there's only a little bit left for confessions because this series isn't meant to go on forever, I realize. Now that I realize that the healing journey is really just beginning, that's going to be, I guess, I'm going to share that in a different way. It's going to still be videos, but it's not going to be, the healing journey is not going to be just about what happened with Sonia. because now that I've broken through all of these layers, I'm at a place where I am learning who I am, without carrying this burden. Learning who I am based on the person I was in my youth. Because I liked who I was as a young person, but who I was never fit in. There was always something about me that made me too something. Like in church, I would be the one who would ask questions. At school, I'd be the one who would say weird things. Or I'd have weird interests. Or I wouldn't know something about, somebody who's really popular, or my absolute favorite, I couldn't turn timely on Double Dutch. They wouldn't let me play because I wouldn't turn on time. And I could be mad about it. I was like, I wouldn't want me to play either. So I wasn't necessarily bullied. I just was excluded. I've always in some way been excluded. And I forgot where I was going with this. Shit, I certainly did. Where was I going with this? I gotta back up. Hold on. This is why these videos be so long. But I guess I needed to talk. Oh, I was saying that the journey is going to continue, and the journey is going to last however long it lasts. So Confessions is not meant to go on forever, because it's a confession. It's a confession of what happened, and then it is a confession of me, of the journey I'm going through as I confront what happened. But ultimately, there's nothing left to confess specifically. The healing is a journey all its own. So there's only a little bit left here. And then I will just keep moving forward. What's been helping me deal with my emotions, I've made a soundtrack of this entire journey, of this entire experience of loving her. So the person who loved her, the person who was left by her, the person who is healing from her, all of that is in the soundtrack, and it's been helpful because it's in 3 acts. Act 1 is the virgin lover, Act 2 is the abandoned lover, and Act 3 is the healing lover. And it's helpful because there are times where I'm existing in that emotional space of the virgin lover, where I'm thinking about how much I loved her and how much I thought she loved me. Like in that truly beginning fantasy. It wasn't even a fantasy because that's what I experienced. That is what I experienced. So the fantasy experience. Sometimes I'm in that space and I realize one of the songs in that soundtrack is what sparked me being able to feel in my body finally, of having something that was sacred stolen from me. Because I remember when I was doing those entries, I couldn't really figure out, I was like, how did it was like a gap in my thinking. It was like I was thinking this thought, something happened, and then I was here. And I couldn't really bridge it. And I think the bridge was the emotional experience in that song, because it was the question, who would I be if I didn't know you? And the thing with the soundtrack is that a lot of these songs have dual meaning. They reflect the deep love that I experienced, but they also, it's like if I look at it through the 2002 lens of when we became together versus the 2024 lens of this was predatorial, this was exploitive, this was manipulative, this was rape. It's very, very different. And so what happened was I did ask myself, who would I be if I didn't know you? And I think what came up in that moment was I would have given my sacredness to someone who deserved it. And that's when I felt like it had been taken from me. That's the moment I felt it taken from me. I didn't feel it taken from me until then. I knew it had been. I thought it. I didn't feel it. And then I felt it with the same intensity that my body has craved her. And that was deep. It's like an unending well of betrayal and brokenness. So I guess I've come back full circle. That soundtrack has helped, because then there are moments where I'm in the space of longing for her as she drifts away, and just needing an answer, say something to me. And now I'm getting more into Act 3, where it's all about me and my healing. And I even have some songs, a couple of Christian songs, one from my childhood and one from my college time that really carried me through. It's an experience. It's the emotional journey of Sonia's lover. And it helps me it gives me a place to have my feelings. Like, it gives me a place to have that longing, and it's not like I'm going back there. It's just kind of like acknowledging, hey, that's still a part of you, and it's okay. That's what it is. It's like, it's still a part of you. We can acknowledge that, and it's okay. It's okay to be there in this moment, because I'll be there for as long as I need to be there, and then it's like, okay, moving on. And that's the thing. When I listen to it from beginning to end, it helps me to keep moving forward and know that I'm getting further and further away from that time. And like I said, it also represents the part of me that will always carry something. All of those pieces from earlier will represent the part of me that carried something. Because I also know that getting rid of stuff physically does nothing. It does nothing, because I've gotten rid of all kinds of things. But I also realize I need to keep some things to represent, so that when I'm in that space of longing, I can look at what is essentially the monument to the death of our relationship and remember the reality. And at some point, I'm gonna have to go through and watch all of these videos, I was supposed to do that, and I realized I'm not in a place where I can do that yet. I'm still moving. I'm still in a place where something is happening, and I need to be present, um, because I am not the same person that I was when I started this. I even tell my partner, I was like, I don't know who I will be at the end of this. I know that right now I am very different because the lens through which I viewed the world that's another part of the shattering. I'm part of that generation where we feel like just we've been lied to. We were lied to about how having a college education would guarantee financial, not even financial, I guess when I say financial success, but financial comfort. There we go. Financial comforts. We've been lied to in like every election. Like, well, I guess everybody has been, huh? TV lied to us because I grew up thinking that when people have issues, hijinks will ensue, because that's what happens in sitcoms. Hijinks will ensue, misunderstandings will explode, but then you talk about it, you share your feelings, everyone understands one another, you grow, you move forward. That's how relationships work. And that has been the ideal through which I've lived my life. Like, everyone's doing their best. Everyone's truly doing their best. And when they don't do their best in a moment, it's not intentional. It's just, we're not perfect. I always took the evil villain and the really one-dimensional characters as just being caricatures, because I believed in treated people as everyone's doing their best. You're not intentionally trying to harm, and that is not how the world works. There are people who are completely selfish. There are people who give zero fucks about who they hurt. And these people don't look like what you think they look like. They don't look like a villain. They don't look like somebody who's shady and you need to stay away from. They look like your favorite person who makes you laugh, who makes you feel understood, who's been there for you in your time of need. They look like people who do good things. They look like people who love and care about others. But none of us knows what truly goes on inside another person's head and heart. And a lot of us are manipulated because a lot of us are manipulators. And at 40 years old, I am finally putting away childish things. So, this has been a ride. And I'm sure I didn't say everything I wanted to say. I really should have taken some notes, but I just want things to kind of flow. But like I said, confessions will be slowly coming to a conclusion, because there's only a couple of things left I have for actual confession. And then we see what happens. I remember the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I got about 6 minutes left, because I told you an hour. For the first time in a very, very, very long time, I had even a bit of a spiritual crisis because, like I said, I'm a person, I believe in signs and symbols. And a big part of that is because growing up, when people talk about like God is their best friend, God really was my best friend growing up. I didn't have anybody. Not in the sense of somebody I could truly be or feel like I was understood by. Because with my siblings, I was the oldest, and so I was more of a authority figure than a friend. And then growing up gay, like figuring out that I was gay in middle school, and I really did just figure it out. Like, this thing with Sonya didn't make me queer. I wasn't molested by anybody. Yes, my parents divorced. Somebody might, oh, your dad wasn't there. Well, I mean, how do you explain my sisters? Because I'm the only gay one in the family. So, but I figured it out because when hormones hit, when puberty hit, I found myself being more attracted to girls than guys. I was not attracted to guys in that way. That's literally all that happened. The same way people are just straight, I was just gay. But it was alienating because I know being gay now is hard. It was harder then. It was even harder in the 40s. Like, if you keep going back in time, it's been hard. Very few of us are without struggle when it comes to sexual identity, and most certainly these days gender identity, but I digress. So that was very alienating, both at school, because I was trying very hard to both figure myself out, but also not be found out. It's like, I can't have people figuring out that I am interested in girls, because then everybody's going to think I'm nasty, that I'm looking at them. Like, we know how people treat that kind of, we know how people treat kids. So there was that stress. And then, of course, dealing with it spiritually was very hard, because my church taught that you're going to hell. The two things that were biggest in my life was dealing with being gay and not being able to not be gay. So wanting to kill myself, but either way I was going to go to hell. If I killed myself, I was going to hell. If I existed, I was going to hell. That was all I had in my head growing up. There was no escape from anything. I couldn't escape the life that I hated. I couldn't escape pretending to be someone I wasn't. I couldn't escape. Like, there was no safe place. Honestly, truthfully, I don't even know how I thought God was my friend, because they definitely taught me that God was not going to be my friend. Like, I was the worst of the worst. Everybody else could be forgiven except for homosexuals and people who committed suicide. Everyone else could be forgiven. Everybody else. Rapists, pedophiles, murderers, drug dealers, because that was a big thing back in the day. Anybody else could be forgiven by God and accepted by God, because they could just say, I'm sorry. Because it was something that they did. If you do a thing and then you repent of doing that thing and don't do that thing anymore, you are forgiven. And for a lot of people, especially people who label themselves as ex-gays, for them, homosexuality is a thing they do. And if they don't do it, then they're safe. And a lot of them will admit to still dealing with those feelings of attraction. So they're not actually ex-gay, because they are still gay. They're just choosing not to act on their gayness, and everybody has that right. But damn, I keep losing my train of thought. But for me, I recognized that my gayness was part of my being. It didn't matter if I never kissed a girl, ever. It didn't matter if I was celibate. It didn't matter if I remained a complete virgin and never slept with anybody. I was gay. And I could not fix it. No amount of prayer changed it. No amount of trying to be with somebody. I had a boyfriend in high school. I think not my freshman year, maybe my sophomore year. And he was a great guy. And we were a good couple. And had I been straight, I probably would have married him. Like, there was absolutely no reason not to, except for wasn't able to love him the way that a straight woman would. That's all there is to it. And I didn't want to do that to anybody. I didn't want somebody to be stuck with somebody who could not love them to the capacity that they deserve to be loved. So, like, when he broke up with me, it was like, oh, thank God, Jesus, yes. And from what I understand, the woman that he dated after me, they got married and had kids, and that's awesome. But it's just like I couldn't change any of that. So anyway, God was what kept me. Like, I'm the kind of person where I will fixate on certain songs. Like, when I listen to an album and I get to a song that I absolutely am enthralled by, that's the song that I will listen to now. I might listen to the whole album occasionally, but I just want that one song. And so there were a few that I would just have on repeat and I would just sit and cry to. And they were kind of what kept me, and both of those songs were about God's unconditional love. And it was in my experiences with God through those darkest times that I developed my actual relationship with God, and came to find that God actually did accept me and love me as I am. And I feel like I've had signs that have carried me through when I have wanted to kill myself. I think I talked about that. And I had a thought. Anyway, I know what it is. I feel like because my deliverance from trying to get delivered from being gay, because that's the thing, I had to be delivered from trying to find deliverance. And it started with hearing God's voice in church. Not from the preacher, not from what was happening around me, because if anything, I was sitting in the back feeling like my outsider self, because not only in church was I the person that would ask questions, I also didn't catch the spirit. Like, we were a shouting, Holy Ghost filled church, and I love it. Like, I love the energy. Like, I'm with it. But I was never a shouter. So the most I could do was like run around the church. It's like, my feet don't work like y'all. And for me, it's like, I can't do it. I don't experience it like y'all do. And I always felt broken in that way. Jesus. But my deliverance from seeking deliverance started is the beginning of my true relationship. Or actually, no, my relationship with God is what started that. And so part of what I had seen, part of what I had felt like a part of, let me start over. A part of that connection with God is when I talked about seeing the potential, seeing what could have been if Sonya and I were together. And so I was having a crisis of faith because it's like, what the fuck did I see? Like, I believe in the things that I see. The things that I've seen have, the things that I have seen and heard have saved my life, literally. So is everything a delusion? Like, because I was like, if I don't know what to do with that. Like, my lived experience is telling me God is connected with me, God is guiding me. But if the stuff that I saw in this relationship, again, wasn't real, then does that mean everything I've seen is not real? And I had to battle with that because I was like, I don't know what to do with that. What do I do with that? And so I've been spending a lot of time in just thought and meditation. And so where I've fallen so far is that I see possibilities. And before I even say all this, I'll go ahead and acknowledge this might very well seem like somebody grasping at straws because their faith has been broken. I think about that too. It's like, am I just grasping at straws? But I think this is one of those times where if I talk it out some more, it'll start to make a bit more sense in my head. Because this is still a work in progress. So I believe that the things I see when I'm with certain people, those are possibilities based on potential. I do very much believe that when I've seen somebody's potential, what I see is real. And again, this is not potential that I say you need to be doing. This is not like, oh, God told me you need to be doing this. I don't know. This is more so as time goes on, either in conversation or because there are some times where I'm having like a single conversation. It's like, okay, I can see how to get you to where you're trying to go. So yeah, there is. I can see how to get you to where you're trying to go. That's one level, and then the other thing is when it's somebody of significance, people I've loved deeply. I can see where you're trying to go and beyond. And so I've always treated those as certainties, as absolutes. What I saw with Sonya, I believe was a possibility, or I believed was a possibility. No, actually, I believed it was going to happen. If it was a possibility, that means there's also the possibility that the relationship started in a very perverse sincerity. And I'm not trying to hold on to that. I am okay with the reality of I was a target the entire time, because that is what I have emotionally accepted. I was a target the entire time. There wasn't no love. There was only being used. But if I'm going to acknowledge the possibility that I saw, then I have to acknowledge that in order for that possibility to have been possible, then again, perverse though it was, there was some sincere love there. Now, will I ever know? Nope. In fact, I decided upon the ending of this life, if I have the opportunity to, like, because truthfully, none of us really knows what happens at the end of life. I don't believe in heaven and hell as Christianity, as Western, as colonizer Christianity teaches, because not all Christianity is the same either. And a lot of what people in the U.S. practice is colonizer Christianity. So yeah, especially Black folk. Yeah. Anyway, but I do believe in there being something after life, and so my question for God is going to be, what was that? Just what was that? Please, just what was going on? What could have happened? Where could that have actually gone? I have questions. Yeah, I'll ask the meaning of life and all that other stuff later, but this right here, that's my question. So where the fault, where I messed up, where I've been messing up all these years, is thinking that the potential I see, the possibilities I see are absolute. I need to recognize that they are indeed possibilities. And they're possibilities because people have to make choices. People have to choose what direction they want to go in. And if they choose something else, then that possibility is no longer possible. And that's how I'm going to navigate moving forward. Because I've seen so much just with myself and experienced it with myself that I'm like, okay, I do believe in what I see. In fact, the moments of absolute certainty, that's when I see that all possibilities are over. That is letting me know that this person has made or will make a choice that ends all possibilities. In the past, I've held on because I was so emotionally embroiled, and also because I didn't want it to end. This is a person I care about. I don't want this to end. I now know if I have another moment, then it's like, okay, it's just letting me know this journey is going to come to an end at some point. And it's interesting. Never mind. I was going to say something, but it's something I got to ponder. I was going to say it's interesting. My moment of absolute certainty with Sonia was a song, but my moments with everybody else was a clear mental voice. So anyway, it's just an observation. So anyway, that crisis of faith was there, and what I just shared is how I've kind of found a balance with it, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still processing, because as much as I'll gaslight myself, I know what I have felt, and it's not a lot I remember about my old life, like especially with my childhood and stuff. Like as I've been trying to remember things, I realize how much I don't remember. Even with this confessions, like there's so much I just don't remember. That I would, like, again, like this card. I don't remember this card. I'm looking at it. I know it exists. I don't remember it existing. So I can only imagine if I still had like my old computer from college, or like our MSN Messenger conversations are sitting on a server somewhere. IBM and the state of North Carolina have a record of our emails back and forth. So there's more evidence of stuff out there. I just don't have access to it. I don't remember it. And then there's what she does remember, which is far more than I know. But I'll never get that from her, because again, she'll she'll deny this to her grave, which is unfortunate because, again, when you don't confront things, it's going to come back. It might not come back on you. It'll come back on your kids. It'll come back on your grandkids. That's how generational curses continue. And heaven help if her grandkids, one or both or all, I don't know how many she got, if any of them are queer or trans. Because I don't know if they'll make it out of that household. With that same upbringing. And it's even worse now because I've seen some of her sermons. I'm glad I got out. I'm glad she let me go. Well, I guess I say that, but with the possibility I saw, she never, in my fantasy, she's an ethical person. An ethical person who truly wanted to heal women. And that's one of the other things I'm going to have to confess is what I saw. The fantasy, the possibility, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I have to confess what foolishness I believed in. And then, yeah. All right. About an hour and 20. Thanks for listening, because again, me talking about this kind of helps it make sense in my head. The way that I've been talking is the way that the thoughts come. The thoughts are actually a bit more cohesive. Like I said, I should probably start taking more notes. But at this point, it doesn't matter. When I continue my healing, I will definitely be taking notes. Definitely taking notes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing witness. And again, please share this with anybody who you know who's going through any form of church abuse, even if it's not my own, like the affair with the pastor's wife, but it comes in so many forms. Youth ministers preying on the youth. Typically, it is the pastor that has like multiple babies with multiple women. There's even a rumor that the bishop got a love child with one of the other ladies at the church. I'm like, bro, really? Like, really? We really were that kind of church, huh? Again, I looked through everything with such naive and idealistic lenses. But I can say the person I am becoming is going to hold fast to those ideals. I don't expect other people to live up to them. I want to live up to them for myself. So it's kind of let me know, like, okay, people are trash in ways that I really didn't give them credit for. But I don't have to be trash. And I also acknowledge that there are people like me who want to do better and are trying to do better. And those are the people that I want to attract. And those are the people I will attract. Those are the people that Spirit will bring me, I'm sure. People like you that listen to all of these videos. Thank you.